So this is a poker recording. Have just started on 6 tables playing simultaneously. Have to wait until the big blind comes around until I get dealt into each table. But other than that, we'll just be patient and wait for that to occur. To start off with, I have brought up the list of pre-flop ranges that I intend to play. These are a series of ranges for each position, which I believe I've deduced to suit my strategy well to earn the most money. So for instance here with 4 Queen, I'm going to fold that because it's not within the range. Sorry, I exited out one of the tabs just so I had 6 full tables because I want to play with 9 people at the table, not the 4 that was originally in the top left-hand table. Don't want to play 7-10 here out of position. Also, even in this scenario here, if a flop comes down 7-10-10, that's not something that should disappoint when you're playing poker. As you don't want to be results orientated. That's just a luck thing, and so more often than not, it's going to come a flop which is bad for you, and therefore that makes the decision to fold good. I'm currently using Hold'em Manager, which is a tool which allows me to isolate stats on the people that I'm playing with. Down here I've got 2 jacks, so I've got 2 pair, which is a good hand, so I'm intending to bet in order to maximise the amount of money that I win from the hand. He's folded, but that doesn't change as well the fact that it was a good decision to bet because I'm trying to make the pot as large as possible. Another good aspect about Hold'em Manager is that it allows you to review the session that you're currently running. And so, it's according to the session, I've played 5 hands and lost 1 cent. The stakes that I'm playing at are 5 cent, 10 cent, which means a small blind posts 5 cents, while the big blind posts 10 cents. And the blinds just go around cyclically. As those players are all in, all the remainder of the cards come out, and that guy, Technolog 133, just got lucky and had an ace on the river there. Still waiting on 3 of these tables to be operating. Now, ace-queen down here, this is a good hand which I think has a lot of value. This guy to the right of me seems to be a poor player due to the fact that he's only bought in with just over 22 big blinds. So I'm going to raise him out with the thinking that he's likely to get his hand in with weaker hands than ace-queen suited. Now, this isn't a good flop for me. And the issue with the fact that he only has $1.22 remaining which is large compared to the pot, doesn't make me feel too good about this hand, so I'm going to check for another free card. That's an ace, which is connected with my hand well, and now I think that it's best for me to get my money in because he's likely to call me with weaker hands, so I'm going to bet the $1.22 that he has remaining with the hope that he'll call. And so he's folded, and so I've won the pot. With that hand down the bottom right there as well, part of the reason I raised was that I had position on that player, and I feel that I'm able to react to the decisions that he makes better, and therefore make the appropriate choices which result in me obtaining the most profit possible. In the same way that down here I'm likely to be in a late position, and this means I can play Queen King, which is a good hand but not a great hand. See, up here, this plays 3-bet. I'm going to fold this one here because I'll be out of position, and for the same reason I'm going to fold here. I'd like to have as much knowledge about these people as possible before making important decisions. Ace King here is a very strong hand, so I'm going to raise even though that this player is raised from early position. He's called. Now this is not a very good flop for me, as although it gives me a straight draw, it also connects well with a lot of hands that he's likely to have. So therefore I'm going to play defensively and check. I'm now going to bet here because the fact that he's checked to me twice makes me feel as though he doesn't himself have a strong hand, and I'm hoping that I could take it away. And I've done so. Down here, just me versus this player in the blinds. I'm going to bet here just to take it down quickly, hopefully. Here, 6-4 is not good enough out of position, so is 9-ace not good enough out of in a poor position. The ranges that I was talking about earlier, sorry. Yeah, so from early position, I intend to raise all these hands here, which you see correlates to 10.11% of hands. And then as I move into better positions, I intend to raise more hands because there's going to be less players involved. The difference is that the button is actually a better position than the small blind because in the button you get to play last post flop, whereas in the small blind you have to play first post flop. As I said before, Ace Queen here is a strong hand, so I'm going to call. If we look at this player here, he's played only 12 hands with me, and he's been involved in one of them. So it suggests that he's tight, but the fact that he's called maybe suggests that he's a weaker player. Now he's checked to me. By raising, I've indicated strength on this player, so it's best for me to continue betting in order to take the money out of the pot now, even though I don't have a made hand. And also there is a chance that my ace or queen will connect, which will give me a strong hand, considering that the flop is rather low here. The fact that he's called, though, indicates that he's likely to have a stronger hand, something perhaps such as a pair higher than sevens. And for that reason, I'm going to check here, especially as well considering that a flush could have been made. This player's head's bet, although it would suggest that he's likely to have a pair. Maybe he has a chance of having overcards to it, but regardless, I think he shows up with a better hand than me more often than not. And also the fact that he's bet $1.90 means I need to call. I need to be correct here about 45% of the time to be right, and I don't think I am, so I'm folding. Same thing here, King Jack out of position to a 3-bet, gonna fold. And as time goes on, the holder manager, which is these stats here, will slowly accumulate more and more over time. For instance, against this person here, Andre Way, I've got 869 hands with him. The stats it just presents me with are just according to these tools here. If we look at, I'll just find an appropriate play quickly. If we look at John 900 at the top right here, I've played 421 hands with him. He sees the flop. He voluntarily plays 18% of, is that 16 or 18? That's 16, sorry. He pre-flop raises 9% of the time. He 3-bets 1.3% of the time. He calls a 3-bet 44% of the time. Folds to a 44% of the time. And then the other ones are to do with steals and how he plays post-flop. The general strategy that I like to play is probably more conservative due to the fact that it's full ring. So I'm going to wait around for predominantly good hands and hope to exploit weaker players when they come around. Ace-8 up here. This player is particularly weak, so I am going to raise. This player looks solid and I'm out of position, so although Queen Ace is a stronger hand, I'm only going to call. This flop here kind of does connect. The 10 would give me a very strong straight, but it's also more likely to connect with this player's hand here. And unfortunately 44 is too much for me here. This player here, monotone boards are quite good because I think he's very likely to fold if he doesn't have a diamond, and also any 9 will form a straight for me. So I'm probably going to bet once and then fold, because if him calling suggests he's likely to have a diamond. So if we're again looking at the holder manager, I'm currently down $1.07. Hoping for a few better cards soon, hopefully. Just bring up this player's stats. He's in middle position, which says he raises 10% of the time, so he'll raise the best 10% of hands. Considering that he's quite short stacked, I'm not too keen to play against him with King Queen. This hand here, new player here, so I'm going to raise because I've got King Jack, and I'm on the button, which means I'll be able to act last post flop, and I've taken down the blinds plus his bet. 6 ace in the cut-off, which is the one before the dealer. So if this player folds, get to act last. And I know there's only 3 other players. This player's called. An ace comes down, so that's connected with my range, but it's also important to remember that he's also could have a few aces in his range. Other than that, the board's quite good because it lacks any real straights in there, unless he has 8-9 and a bet and he's folded. He's likely to give me respect there for that ace. Queens on the bottom left there. And unfortunately everyone folded, which is a bit disappointing. But now am only down 45 cents, 13 cents, sorry. King 10 here. This plays an early position, and also I've got a lot of hands, and it shows that he's quite a good player. So I'm not keen to verse him out of position, so I'm going to fold. It's always important to know where people are raising from. People who traditionally raise from early position are likely to have stronger hands than those who raise from late position. So King here down on the bottom middle screen, and I'm hoping that someone will raise prior to the betting arriving at me and someone has raised. And so, although this player has raised from early position, King is such a strong hand, the second best hand, that it's appropriate for me to get all my money in here, just knowing the fact that these other players are likely to have good hands, but not hands which are better than King. The only hand which is better than King is ace. And if a player were to have ace in this scenario, then that's just part of the luck associated with poker. I'm going to raise up to 260 here. So that's 26 big blinds, but big blind is 10 cents. And it'll be interesting to see how these other players react. And so this player's folded, which is okay. The fact that he's folded doesn't worry me too much. I'm not going to not raise in that scenario. It's kind of, you always want to try and raise your strong hands as best possible, and therefore raising in that scenario is the best play. These players here, they've both got that blue 100 there in the second line, fourth, which shows that they've folded to all steals 100% of the time, which is going to encourage me to make a bet. And as I see, I've taken down the blinds there, which is good. Always trying to keep tabs on how your opponent's playing is extremely important, because you want to react, obviously, as best possible to earn the most amount of money. And so therefore, having an eye out for things like that are important. And that's why Hold'em Manager can prove to be so useful, because it's just always computing things like this. According to Hold'em Manager, I'm now up $1.27. And this player here has called me, and then he's proceeded to bet 10 cents. Now, obviously, he's bet the minimum amount of money, and I've still got a strong hand, but you've got to question why he's betting this money. Perhaps it's just a random thing that he's trying to do to offset me. So I'm going to continue. I was a pre-flop player, so I want to continue to show aggression, even though my hand hasn't hit. So I'm going to proceed to bet 50 cents. And his raising indicates to me that he's likely to be quite strong. Whether he has an 8 or not would be pretty surprising. And I think I'm getting the right decision here to call in case an ace hits. And that third 8 there also goes on to think that it's very unlikely that he has that 8. And him checking to me shows that he's not too sure, so I'm going to bet again. his raise there indicates to me that he's fairly confident in his hand. Also, the fact that he's betting the minimum psychology-wise perhaps suggests that he's so concerned with raising too much because it would make me fold that he's going to raise the minimum amount. So I'm going to go ahead and fold here. I am a bit confused by what he's done there, and it's something that I would generally look back on later on to contemplate how that player is going to play, but his methodology is a bit unorthodox, maybe. I'm going to take a note on him there. Bet the minimum amount when strong. Got king there versus queen down here. And I'm going to call here with 5-5. Even though I'm out of position, if I'm able to hit a 5, it turns the pair of 5s into an extremely profitable hand. And haven't hit here. Also, an ace and a king have come down, which connects extremely well with his range. So I'm going to just fold it. Keep it simple. I've got ace down on the bottom right here, and obviously the best hand in Hold'em, so I'm going to raise it up as one naturally would with a strong hand. Hopefully someone else is keen to play, but it doesn't look like it. Oh, one caller. This is quite an interesting board. It's very well connected. Hands like 10-9 have me beat here. This player seems strong. He seems alright, so he's going to have quite a few good hands in his range, most likely. Most likely a lot of pairs. Still going to bet those as the aggressor. I'm not thrilled with this card really because it just increases the connectivity of the board. And I'm going to just check it back here to play, just to be cautious. The 4 there. He's checked to me. And to be honest, it would be extremely passive of him to continue with a weak, to not bet here, considering that I've checked to him. And so I'm going to go here and bet, thinking that he'll hopefully call me with a few weaker hands, such as Queen King in particular comes to mind. And he's folded. The different colours on different players are just associated with the different styles that I've associated with each player. Red means he's more of a tight player. Orange means he or she, so he is a bit more aggressive, but also fairly conservative, and has played a lot of hands and showed he has a certain amount of skill over those hands. And obviously the beauty of online poker is just the ability to log on and play whenever you want. For instance, I'm in my bedroom at my flat here, and yet I'm playing against people who are from Cambodia, Russia, Canada, another one from Russia, Russia again, a lot of Russians, Brazilian, and Peru. I've got 9-9 in the top right here, so intending on raising that. If we have a quick look on the session, I am down $1.31, predominantly from that ace-jack hand where that guy played a bit unorthodox. So it's going alright. Nothing really has been too major in any way, and I've been happy with the way it's all been going. It was a bit surprising the way that guy played, but nothing that made me feel as though I'd done anything incorrect. Be interesting to see what happens from here on. Got one caller. And although this is perhaps not the best flop, I'm going to always continue here because he will perceive that I have a lot of aces in particular in my range, and so this is like a connect. I'm hoping that he folds. Any reaction to this would suggest that he thinks he would suggest he's got a good hand and would encourage me to fold. Jack King suited here. Bit marginal because this guy encourages me to get his free money here, but fold. Be safe. Queen down the bottom left here. So I'm hoping that someone else is going to make a play. And someone has. As I said before, he looks like a very conservative player. So he's only going to be raising fairly light. It's still, I think, still doesn't justify me just calling here. So I'm going to raise with the hope that he's going to get involved with weaker hands. And I'm going to call here. This one here, if he decides to raise, I'm going to fold just on the principle that he plays so tight that up here I haven't really connected with the flop at all. And obviously a good result here. I've got queens and I got queens. There's no reason I should stop betting here. Queen, queen, queen is a trip. Queens here is very strong. But also I don't want to see a flush come out, so I'm going to bet out half the pot considering it's already inflated. And that's a good result for me there. Although I would have liked to see him act. However, for someone so tight, he could have had aces, and he could have had kings when he starts thinking about those. So overall, but I'm partial on that one. This one here, it's come around to me, and there's 30 cents in here. I'm going to bet and hopefully take it away from them. Even though Jack 3 is a weak hand, these players are likely to fold. And so I think it's profitable to raise. And I've taken the money down here. Just quick look at Holder Manager. I'm down 28 cents. Let's hand on the top left here. I've got 3-3. I'm going to call 30 cents here with the intention of seeing a flop. And the main reason I want to do that is I want to see a 3 come down to give me trip 3s, which is an extremely strong hand and also very tough for them to read into. And the more players that come along, the better here, considering that 3-3 is so strong. And thankfully, it's come down here. So I would like to see as much action as possible, and it's good to know that I'm the dealer, sorry. So I'm the last person to act. I'm hoping this player here raises. And the board is so good as well because there's no connectivity with it here. And this player's bet. And here I could raise, but to be honest, the only hand that he puts me on here is a set. So I'm just going to call because the board is so dry. And I'm hoping the more people who come along here, the better. This card's alright. It's people who have 4-7 now have it, but it's just not a very good hand. I'm worried that he's going to think I'm just playing the draw, so I'm going to take my opportunity here to raise because I just want to get as much of his money in the middle as possible. And he's folded there, which is alright. You have to, it'd be poor thinking to only try and get a portion of his money there. And so I want to get all of it, so that's why I raised then when I thought it was appropriate to do so. This play down here is so tight that him continuing would suggest that he has something. Also, this blue 100 here suggests that he folds to every continuation bet that I make after the flop, so yeah, and so of course I'm going to fold. Ace King suited up here on the top left, which is a strong hand. Raise that. Told the manager will also show. It'll show the hands which if I look at this one here, it'll show which of the hands I've been dealt, and whether I've been dealt them at what would be described as a fair rate. And I don't mind any action up here on the top left, because I've got such a strong hand. So $1.59 up. The graph shows that the lowest money I was at, I was down $1.53, and the highest I was at was at $2.55. So if we look at the bottom left here, I had 4-5, and the flop came 4-8-5, and so I'd have 2 pair down there if I'd still been in the pot, which is obviously a strong hand. But as I said with one of the hands previously, it's incorrect thinking to say for me now, I should have been involved there, because I'm more worried about the process than I am about the results. Obviously, the results here probably would have been good, but the majority of the time you're not going to connect with the community cards and have a strong hand with that 4-5, so it's best to fold it pre-flop. And even in the scenario here, thankfully, if I'd been involved, this player here had a straight, which is better than my 4-5, and this player here ended up having having trips, which is also better than my 2 pair. Although that his trips were extremely lucky. 4 ace, so small. It's only 10 cents for me to call here, so I'm gonna call. Ace has come up, but he's also very likely to have ace in his hand, so I'm gonna play it very conservatively. 30 cents is good, and I want to keep this pot small as possible. I'm hoping that he's going to check here. His betting here would suggest he could be stronger. This is an interesting spot here. From the cutoff there, he raises 17% of hands. And for me here, I just don't really believe that. I think he could have another ace, but for me, because I know where 2 of the aces are, it decreases the chance of me thinking he has one. So I am going to call. And that's obviously pretty difficult to see. It's also pretty frustrating that he's just managed to hit his jack, the last jack on the river there. And that occurs sometimes. It's all part of playing poker. It doesn't mean it's not frustrating, but just part of playing poker. And so, did I think I made the right call? Probably something that would require a bit more analysis, but psychology-wise, it's imperfect to become overly frustrated with those things and allow them to impede what occurs in the future. So it is a skill being able to get over those as quickly as possible. Still doesn't change the fact that it's frustrating though. See, I raised down here with 6-6, and now the flops come. I haven't connected, but I'm still going to continue with the aggression due to the fact that he's likely to receive that I have a king or queen in my hand. And he's called here, which is not good. It's not good and suggests that he himself has a king queen. So I think the best play here is just a check. If he's going to bet here, I'll allow him to have it. Hoping for a 4 here in the top middle. Gives me a strong hand. This guy steals so frequently that I think it's best for me to... I'm going to check this just because there's 3 people involved and 10 jack is extremely worrying. With this decision up here, this player here, if you look at the steal percentage that he's showing, he steals at every opportunity that he gets. And the raise I made there, although I didn't have a very good hand, was more for the fact that I need to occasionally raise her there with nothing to kind of create this balance between me and say to him that he can't just keep continually take my blind away from him. From me, sorry. And in doing so, it should prevent him from just betting every single time in order to always put pressure on me. Over here, this guy 3-bets 3.9% of the time in accordance with that number there, and he's quite a good player, so I'm going to just let it go. Now, this one here is far more interesting. and pretty difficult if you ask me. Jacks are good, but they're not great, just because of the fact that there's queens, aces, kings, and ace-king. This guy here is not likely to raise with much at all. And the fact that this guy's raised him, and also the fact that this guy here seems to be competent, and therefore is likely to know this guy is quite tight, means that I think in this scenario here, the jack's the best default. It's a very tight play, but if you look at the information this guy has, he's played 28 hands here in the first position, and he hasn't played a single one of those. So I would have liked to have him to done something there to kind of vindicate that decision, but I'm still okay with it. This guy here, he's stolen every single time as well. So I'm going to do the same move that I made previously with that King 7, because I think that he's just trying to take my blind here. It's also useful that I've got an ace, because it reduces the chance of him having an ace. There is some incentive to come along here. And I think I'm going to, considering the position I'm in. I've hit a king there, but a lot of the times here I'm going to be beaten by better kings. A lot of it's going to depend on the action previously. Obviously, I want some action down here on the bottom left with king, and so this guy's raised, but he's most likely just doing to raise this, just to raise me off. So, and yeah, so obviously would have liked a bit more action then, but stay lovely. I'm going to bet here down in the bottom right, just because I don't want high cards to come. Anyone calling here also kind of puts me in an interesting position, because I'm going to check back here just to keep the pot small. His lack of aggression here suggests to me that he's either got an extremely good hand, or he's got a hand like queen, which has just been eclipsed a bit. Either that, or I think he's got a weak king like me. But again, I think it's best to just check here. And that 6 shouldn't change too much. I think I'm going to call a bet here. That 9.0 there is to do with his aggression. And his 80 cents here means I only have to be right around 1 in 8 times for this to pay off. And so he had ace-jack, so obviously pretty happy with that decision there. And kind of read his hand all right, which was nice. It's good in that other hand where that guy had jacks, so it's good. I was just going to say that he bet small on the river as a block bet. Jack here, so I'm going to raise. This guy's raised me here. To be honest, I don't think he has that much, but with the hand that I have, it's just not worth pursuing. And so I'm not too happy with the fact that a lot of people come here, but I'm extremely happy with that jack coming down, because it's such a good card for me. And also the fact that their board's so uncoordinated just encourages them to bet small and just try and milk as much money out of these people. I want them to connect as much as possible, and so I'm hoping for them to raise. I've got the best hand here. That card's alright. Anyone with 10-9 connects it away, but and so I'm going to bet more now just to increase it. And that card there is good. And now I just want to get the maximum amount of money. So what I'm trying to decipher at the moment with this bottom left hand is what's the maximum amount of money that the person would call with the second best hand. And for me, I think it's somewhere around about 330. And so, yeah, thankfully I've taken that one down. And I think 330 did seem king queen there. He doesn't have a strong hand. She doesn't have, well, I'm assuming it's a she by the picture, but I'm assuming she doesn't have a very strong hand there too often. King queen just kind of shows that's a weak hand. I don't know why they're calling the flop there with king queen, and that queen there is just enough to get people like that into trouble. And so yeah, I think I was very happy with the way that hand went. And I also think that it's a skill in poker to be able to, you want to be able to try and get the most amount of money out of your good hands in the same way that you want to be able to fold when you're beaten by better hands. But it's just when the time comes, you want to make as much money as possible. I got ace queen here. This guy has raised from early position, so he's got 15% of hands. Hands that he's likely to have are very unlikely to have connected with his flop, so I'm going to call here. And I'm intending on check raising this person here because I've got that diamond. And I'm intending on raising here. This person's indicated he's not very strong. I'm going to bet quite a big amount because I want him to sweat over the call if he's going to make it. I don't have a hand, but I don't think he has a hand either. With this tens here, just gonna check. That call before the flop here with the tens is mainly just in case a 10 comes down because he's indicated that he's strong. I'm just going to fold there. I think he's just so likely to have better hands and it's just put me in such a difficult position if I call there. The check hold manager. I am currently up $4.73. And see, while a few of the other people might cause a re-raise here because they steal so frequently, this guy here doesn't steal frequently at all, only 14% of the time. And so, in scenarios like this, it's best not to try and bluff players like that. Just going to review the way that this guy decided to play his aces. It's been annoying down here in the bottom right that this guy is kind of put all his money in. I'm just going to fold here because this guy's raised from early position. So I was hoping for a 4 to come down here, but this is not too bad a flop. I only have 12 hands of information on this guy, which is a bit annoying, but he's definitely worth calling off one street here. And he's given me the option to bet, so I'm going to try and bet and take it down from him. In the hope that he'd fold, and he has. Six, seven here. I want him to fold here, ideally, but the good thing about 6-7 is that it gives a post flop it doesn't play too badly, because it's not what he would think I would have first of all, and also it makes a lot of very good hands, like flushes and straights. Nine-eight's not a great hand, but this guy here folds to steals 70. Hold up. 79% of the time, and so it's very profitable for me to bet into him because he's going to fold so frequently. This guy here, back now, who's just called me, his stats, although it's a small sample size, his stats suggest he plays a lot of hands. And I don't think he's going to give me much credit here. So I'm just going to check here. Now I'm inclined to bet, because I think he would have bet if he had a strong enough hand. And his ace is a good card here. I don't think he's going to give me much credit for betting it, so I want to try and obtain as much money. I'm betting here because I want him to call with weaker hands. And this is a question of what's the amount. I think $1.10 is about right, about 2/3 of the pot. He could have a better ace here, but that's just a reality of sometimes. And he's folded. And so it's good to remember as well that if that scenario comes up, and even if I don't have an ace there, he's very likely to think I have an ace. If we just look at the session so far, I'm up $5.79. This hand, this is all right down here. I mean, someone's unlikely to have a jack, but the problem is that both these people here are quite loose players, and they're very likely to call if I did bet, especially like you saw before with that hand that I played. That this lady up here she had king queen and it hadn't even connected with the board, but she still continued. I'm just going to fold here just because the fact that he could have a jack means it just puts me in a lot of difficult times later on in the hand. And as well, I know how likely this lady is to call. This is a good result here. This is what I wanted. This guy up here, part of the reason I decided to play in this hand was this guy here seems to be a weak player, and I want to maximize I want to get the max amount of money out of him. So I'm going to bet probably larger than I would against the average player. Unfortunately, he's folded, but that's just part of it. As you can see across a lot of the tables here, this table here has been the best table where I won that biggest hand. I'm going to write on these three: top left, bottom middle, and bottom right. This one here has been my worst. My account automatically replenishes me up to 100 big blinds, which is $10 every time it drops below that. So it would suggest that I haven't done too well there. This guy here, just looking at the stats, he's very inclined to fold to 3 bets, as seen by that, out of 9 times folded every time. So I'm gonna raise him here. Hope that the fact that this guy's only called as well, this guy's bet shows that he's likely to be weak. Queen King as well also has sort of flop potential, but I'm hoping that he folds predominantly. If he raises, I myself will definitely fold. Which is good, and I'm hoping that this guy here is likely to fold, considering that he's shown that he's to be quite weak. But this is an extremely obtuse play, a bit frustrating, but people who are generally call and then in the same round of betting raise are likely to be very strong, so it's best for me to fold. Ace 10 here, so I've got 2 pair, which is quite good. And I'm going to bet because I think these people are more likely to call and make mistakes, so I'm going to bet. I've got a very strong hand here. I mean, the only hands that really beat me are a pair of aces, which this person definitely won't have, and pair of 5s maybe. It's disappointing they folded, but still, as I said before, I wanted to bet there. Well, will say, just looking at this flop, any other heart brings a lot of issue, and then any other, a jack, queen, or king gives the possibility of a straight draw. So it's just it's a dangerous flop to give the other opponent. You give your opponents a free card upon. I'll wait for one more hand and then I'll wrap up the proceedings here. One more good hand, sorry. Call this jack ace here. This will be the last hand in the top right. Obviously it's a good hand. This person here as well kind of seems quite weak. The fact that they haven't bought him for the maximum amount suggests they aren't the strongest player. And obviously that's an extremely good flop because it gives me a good chance to make a flush, and also I've already got an ace. So as per, I'm just going to continue to raise, and I want to get all the money in the middle here. I'd love to see this individual raise. And I'm going to call here just because I've got such a strong hand and such a good chance of making a good hand. Good last hand to finish on as well. And so, yeah, obviously I have this guy beat here. And so I've taken that down. And so that's part of the reason as well. You want to play against as weak players as you can because they're very likely to make mistakes. And so the person with this 4-ace here has overvalued the fact that he has an ace. I've got a better ace in this scenario here. And so I've also got the chance as well of making a flush. So even if he did happen to have a strong hand like ace 10, for instance, I still have the chance of hitting another spade to give me a flush. So obviously happy with that hand, and also the fact that I was making right decisions and recognizing that he's a weak player and that he's likely to make mistakes like that. So yeah, it's a good time to end this video.